live. That's why it looks dark. Live. Welcome to Durbania Live. So excited to come to you right now with some DCEU talk. My original name for this video was going to be DC Talk. But if you, like me, were a Christian nerdy kid in the 90s, you knew there was a Christian rock band called DC Talk. So I figured there might be a little conflict of interest if I named this video DC Talk. So thus you got the name of this video, DCEU Talk. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, you saw there's going to be 4 questions that I want to talk about. Like, I want to give you my opinion on these things, but I want, since we're live, I want you to give me your opinion on these things. So let me throw out the 4 questions real quick, and then I'll go over them and give you my thoughts, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. So this way you can gather it. What's up, Falcon B? So glad you can join. So question number 1 I want us to talk about, so be thinking, are you excited for the Snyder Cut to come to HBOMax? Question number 2, Keaton is probably going to be returning as Batman, as like a DCEU multiverse. Does that make you excited? Question number 3, is a multiverse a good way to go for the DCEU? And question number 4, what's your favorite DCEU movie? So now I'm going to go back, kind of just hit these things slowly. I'll do the first question. I'll give you my opinion, and then I look forward to hearing your opinion. And then we'll move on to the second question. Plan is to do this in about an hour because the wife over here, how you doing, Laura?
Hey.
She wanted me to go about an hour. So an hour seems good in time for us to hang out. What is up, Doug Jones? For question number 1, he says meh. So I hope you will expound on that meh as we get a little bit more into it, because I think that'll be very interesting conversation. So let's dive into this real quick here. First, let me just say this is not a state of the DCEU. Cody Leach and I will do a state of the DCEU when things are more firmed up with Michael Keaton and like more in-stone things are released. And I look forward to doing that with Cody Leach. That's going to be a blast. This is an opinion piece. So let's talk. Question number 1, are you excited for the Snyder Cut coming to HBOMax? My opinion and answer to that is yes. Because if the movie is great, fantastic. If the movie is terrible, oh well. The point is, I'm just excited to see where things were going to go with that. Because seriously, now that 30-second spot that was released, I didn't do a reaction to it intentionally because I know a lot of you come into my trailer reaction because you like my facial expressions. And I don't think I had a ton of facial expressions to give in that trailer reaction because it was only 30 seconds long. It didn't show a lot. But I will say what was cool was seeing Wonder Woman with that little fire thing, and she's looking at that big old picture, ancient drawing of Darkseid, and then it cuts to, you know, the flashback of that war where it was Steppenwolf, but we see Darkseid standing in that place. So I'm excited for that. I want to see the original vision for Steppenwolf, all that he was supposed to do. I'm looking forward to seeing Darkseid and where he was intended to fit in this story. And Superman. Superman is my favorite superhero of all time. And I think you and me, we both know when Superman died and he came back to life and he was super confused and there was that fight between him and the Justice League. I think we all know, especially from the trailers, there was more to that fight. And perhaps there's more to Superman being confused. And maybe he was supposed to be in that confused state much longer than he actually was. Therefore, I want to get all of that, good or bad. I just want to see where it was supposed to go. I want to see the real, actual, direct sequel from Batman vs. Superman. Joss Whedon is a great writer and a great director. So to me, it's not his fault that Justice League was bad. Rather than letting him start over from ground zero, they just had him do some patchwork. And so you have the Joss Whedon tone patched on to what they kept, the little they kept of the Snyder tone, and it made this incredibly ugly quilt that just didn't quite work out. But both directors, I think, are good. They just should have gone with one vision or the other, and then they mixed the two and made this lukewarm mess. So, yeah, I'm excited to finally get a straight-up Snyder Cut because it is the Snyder, well, as close as we're going to get to the Snyder vision. So let me take that to you now. My question to you is, are you excited for the Snyder Cut coming to HBOMax? Now, Doug James, he said, meh. So, Doug, I'd love to hear more from you why you're meh on that. Let's see. Anakin Skywalker. Hi, my favorite YouTuber. Everything makes me excited. The fact that Snyder Cut is a god. Did I read that right?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah, Snyder Cut is I'm excited for it. I just am. It does look like it's going to be really, really, really good. Yes, I'm excited about the Snyder Cut. Also, can't wait for July 31st on 31. Yes. I'm glad you're paying attention to that, Anakin, because I'm excited. Cody Leach invited me to be a part of the 31 on 31. So the MCU and the DCEU is 31 superhero movies, and it's the ultimate ranking of all of these superhero movies. So we're all going to be ranking all of this on July 31st. I just now got to Captain America, the Winter Soldier, watching the MCU in chronological order. And then after that, I'm going to go through the DCEU on rewatches to get everything fresh in my mind. So I'm super excited about that. Falcon B, he says he can't wait for the Snyder Cut. And Anakin says, I know your number one is Man of Steel. Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see in the ultimate ranking where it falls because, you got that MCU stuff. And as much as I love DC, and I do, the MCU has knocked it out of the park with their movies. But you can know and rest assured, Man of Steel is going to sit high on my 31 on 31. Now, for those of you that are in here right now, I'm posing this question. Are you excited for the Snyder Cut coming to HBOMax? So what makes you excited to see the Snyder Cut? Hey, what's up, Damien? I am excited that you are joining us. Are you excited for the Snyder Cut? So let's talk about that real quick. Like I said earlier, I'm just excited for the Snyder Vision. Laura, what do you think of the Snyder Cut? Are you excited?
I am hopeful.
She is hope. Can you hear Laura? Let us know if you can hear her just fine.
I don't want to get my hopes up too much because I don't want them to be smashed if it's not great.
I do agree with Laura. Like she said, in case you didn't hear, she is hopeful, but she doesn't want to get her hopes up too much in case they're smashed. That's why I say I don't care if the Snyder Cut is good or bad. I just want to see where it was supposed to go. And if it was bad, oh well. I just want to see it. So, yes. And Anakin says he can hear you, Laura. So that is good.
Awesome.
Yes, you are heard. Well, we can circle back to this question as more people join in. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Let's see here. Damien, he says, I'm really excited. I do think what we got is a guilty pleasure for me. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you do like the present Justice League even as a guilty pleasure movie. There's things about the present Justice League I like. Like, come on, Laura, where the Flash and Superman's eyes meet as he's running circles. Oh yeah. It does have good moments. And I think that's why I'm most excited for the Snyder Cut, because I could see the potential that's there and the deeper storyline that's there. And I just can't wait to see it.
I love what Doug said.
What did Doug say?
He said, I agree with Laura. I have hope, but I believe, but help my unbelief.
That is probably the comment of the day for Snyder Cut.
That's awesome.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Well, let's get into question number 2. And I kind of want to take question number 2 and make it a 2-parter, because the idea of Keaton returning softens something for me. And what it softens for me is the idea that the first solo DCEU Flash movie was going to be Flashpoint. Do you think that was ever a good idea, that the first solo Flash movie was Flashpoint? I'd love your response to that right now. And I'd love your, for me, my response is I think that's a terrible idea. I think Flashpoint is great. And the animated movie Flashpoint Paradox is a great movie. The reason I think it's terrible right now is we haven't seen Ezra Miller's Flash. We haven't seen his Central City. We haven't met his Iris. We haven't established his world. For heaven's sake, Flashpoint affects everything. We only just saw Arthur Curry become king of Atlantis, and it was pretty epic the way he became king of Atlantis. So I feel like things are only just getting set up, and I feel like to go and Flashpoint that right now is a little premature. So what are your thoughts on that? The first solo Flash movie being Flashpoint. Was that a good idea in your mind or a bad idea? Laura, what do we got in terms of comments right now?
Doug James says it's heavy stuff for a first movie.
It really is. And I feel like to really tackle that heavy stuff in a way that's satisfying to fans, and then a way that makes sense to people who aren't fans, because it still has to make some level of sense. You got to just have a little bit more. Laura, what else do we have?
Damien, Ision said, did you see the teaser? I bet it's going to be really serious. We could be on the edge of our seats.
That 30-second Snyder Cut teaser, I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. Yes, I did see that teaser. It is pretty darn cool, and it does get me a little bit more excited for the Snyder Cut. It doesn't show us much, and that's okay. It was just enough to remind us that it's coming.
Anakin says, I'm happy for the Vulture. I mean, Batman. In the DCEU. Also, the most action I have seen Flash is the body slam.
Yes. You know, it is cool. Michael Keaton is now MCU and DCEU. I mean, either way. I mean, the fact that he was Batman in 1989 and then again in Batman Returns and now he's the Vulture. I mean, to be able to get to do both universes, that is a nerd's greatest dream. So congratulations to you, Michael Keaton. Anybody else have anything to say about Flashpoint being the first solo Flash?
Chris just said I'm thinking it'll be way better than what we got in 2017.
Okay. Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, go on.
And that he enjoyed your pitch wars with Cody Leach.
That pitch wars I did with Cody Leach, you should go back and watch because we did an epic pitch wars for DC movies before Justice League came out. And I think we pitched better movies than we actually got.
And Falcon B said, I think it's a good idea. Oh, my thing moved. Oh, and could be really entertaining.
Yeah, you know, the truth is no matter what, because I like Ezra Miller as the Flash, it would be entertaining. Like he does have a fun, lighthearted Flash. So yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. But just because I'm a huge DC fan, yeah, I've been a little disappointed with this DCEU, but I don't think the hope is gone. I think we could still build, and I would just come on. Arthur Curry just became king, and the Flashpoint would change that. We'd have to see it happen again. Let's build this a little bit more.
Anakin said, also, that's like starting the MCU with Endgame or an Infinity War.
That's also, I could agree with that. Like in my personal opinion, I feel like that's where it is. I mean, when you go and I don't want to spoil this. Never mind. I was going to spoil something and I'm not because we're not discussing that. Okay.
Doug James just said so true. Pitches be better.
Yes. Well, let's go to part 2 of this question. Does the fact that Michael Keaton may be returning soften the blow of the next Flash movie being Flashpoint? Because it is an introduction to a DCEU multiverse. And Michael Keaton, I got to be honest with you, one of my favorite Batmans ever. And probably a lot of that is just nostalgia talking. I mean, I was there opening weekend seeing 1989 Batman on the big screen. I think I saw it. There's 2 times I remember for sure seeing on the big screen. But knowing me, I think I saw it more than twice on the big screen. I loved that 1989 Batman. Now, I still don't like Flashpoint being the first solo Flash movie, but the idea of Michael Keaton being involved in that kind of softens the blow for me. Now, if you head over to Sean Chandler's channel when we're done with this, 27 minutes into Sean Chandler's latest podcast, Griffin Schiller has some pretty cool inside sources, and he talks a little bit about this, how that perhaps what's going to happen once all agreements are made, anything could change, but perhaps Keaton's thing will be more of a cameo in Flashpoint, but a cameo that becomes a launch point for something much bigger later. And honestly, that's still, that even if that idea is the one that pans out, is still the idea that has me a little bit excited. But does the idea of Michael Keaton having a cameo or any role whatsoever in Flashpoint soften that for you? So what is your response to that? Laura, do we have any responses to that building already?
Not yet, no.
Not yet. Well, I'm anxious to hear from you on this because, I mean, this is the thing that is just sweeping the internet right now. This idea that the Tim Burton verse Batman is part of a multiverse with DCEU, and we can actually see what has happened with this Michael Keaton's Batman. And honestly, even like as much as I like Ezra Miller's Flash, sure, I am more excited to see what has happened with one of my favorite Batmans and one of my all-time favorite Batman movies.
So Doug James says he is getting up there in years, but his commitment to a role would make any movie worth the ticket price.
Well, I agree with that. And the cool thing about Michael Keaton getting up there in years isn't that the story of Batman Beyond? The frustration that Bruce Wayne is up there in years and he can't continue this. So Terry McGinnis, this younger kid he finds, well, probably 20s, and trains him and mentors him. I mean, how that kind of opens a door that of potential. Like either he could train Batman Beyond Batman, or he could train Batgirl, or he could any number of characters. He could become a mentor in the area of being a superhero. So yeah, he might be getting up there in years, but it would still be cool to get flashbacks of what has this Batman been through and what could he do for the DCEU now. We got anything else, Laura?
Anakin said, I feel that would be holy bleep awesome as a post-credit scene. He typed in bleep.
Oh, you typed in bleep. Okay, I'm not even reading it. I thought Laura was being polite and bleeping out. That's hilarious. But yeah, no, that would be. I would hope for more than a post credit scene. I would hope the cameo is like a full on scene with Michael Keaton meeting Ezra Miller's Barry Allen and like talking with him. That would be cool to see. So I hope it's more than that, but even if it is just that, yes, I agree. That would be a post-credit scene that would have me giving the film not the film, but at least giving that moment a standing ovation. What else do we have, Laura?
Doug agrees. You just would hope for more than a post-credit scene.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, I fully agree with that too. I would definitely want more than a post-credit scene because even if it is a post-credit scene, it has to be a launching point. You can't just throw in Michael Keaton and that be that, because we saw them try to do that with Crisis on Infinite Earths. They bring in Brandon Routh to continue the Christopher Reeve Superman and kill him. So he didn't even have a major part to play, and he was the flippin' paragon of hope. That was annoying as snot. All this buildup that Tom Welling was returning, and once again, his Superman gave up his powers, and that's where we come in at his story at. No, thank you. So, I don't want Michael Keaton to be wasted. I don't think they would. I think if they're going to bring Michael Keaton back, it's going to be big. What else we got?
Anakin said, like Bill Murray in Zombieland.
Yes.
As long as he doesn't get taken out.
Yes, as long as he doesn't get taken out like that. Yes, that would be perfect. Yes.
And Doug James said, like Anthony Hopkins and Zorro.
There you go. Like, that was cool. And to give Michael Keaton that kind of role is something that I would love to see. What else we have?
That's all for now.
Okay. Well, that is a good.
I have another one.
Oh, go ahead, Laura. What is it?
Will the Snyder Cut end on a dark cliffhanger because Justice League was supposed to be a two-parter?
I don't know, because there's so many different rumors about that. Because the one thing that I've heard, I think this is accurate, but double check me because I'm not sure. The original Snyder vision was indeed a two-part Justice League, but after Batman vs Superman came out and there were those adverse reactions and they were re-editing Suicide Squad for the 7th time, like they said, nope, you need to make it one movie. So he went and made it one movie, and then later they give that mandate, it's got to be under 2 hours. So there were a lot of major changes, and so I don't know if cameras ever rolled on the two-parter, so they might have a sort of cliffhanger and at the same time an end, if that makes sense. Just because, all superhero movies, you want to leave it open for more. But I think the original Snyder vision was a major cliffhanger into Justice League Part 2. But I'm not sure if cameras actually ever rolled on that version. So we may never actually get the Snyder vision, but I would still be interested in the Snyder Cut. Anything else, Laura?
Yeah, Falcon B said, Michael Keaton being in it just makes me more excited for the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I'm still not thrilled with Flashpoint being Ezra Miller's first solo Flash film, but Michael Keaton being in there softens that blow for me. It's like, okay, fine. Like, okay, I'd be interested in this introduction to a DCEU multiverse. I'd be interested in that to see, okay, how does that impact the Joker we got in Suicide Squad, and now the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. And I almost said, what's his face coming back, but he fell off a building. That Joker fell off a building. Jack Nicholson. Thank you.
Oh.
Yes. Sorry. Did I confuse people? No, the Jack Nicholson Joker died, so he probably wouldn't be coming back unless they did some other DC magic. But I don't know. Like, the DCEU multiverse is interesting. And we know the MCU is heading into multiverse area. And DC wants to continue to play catch up. So we do know that. So I will be very curious how the multiverses start working out in these live action worlds as we enter them. You're laughing. What's the comment?
Doug Jane says, cliffhanger. Next time. Same bat time.
Same bat play. Oh, come on, Zack Snyder. End it that way. That would just be brilliant.
And then Damon Ision said, if the cut is a success, could this put an end to studio interference?
No. That will never end. I could promise you that is never going to come to an end. It might have them back off for a little bit. Might. But I doubt that it would ever bring an end to studio interference.
And then Anakin said it would be awesome if Joker 2019 could be in the DCEU.
I think he'd be part of the DCEU multiverse, but I think it depends on how much money they can offer Joaquin Phoenix to come back. Because from what I understand, he
doesn't do sequels.
Yeah, like, he doesn't do sequels. He's the artist. So in order for him to not be the artist, that would be a pretty big dollar sign, I think. So and it probably would have to be very kind of the way Joker was very artistic and independent film like. I think there would have to be that kind of quality to bringing him to the multiverse that would have to attract Joaquin Phoenix in. Then again, he was almost going to be Doctor Strange. So
Oh,
who on this green earth knows? What else do we got, Laura?
that's it. Next question.
Next, okay, let's do question 3 because this is perfect. Question 3 for me is this. Is a multiverse a good way for the DCEU to have a stronger continuity? I think long term, yes. But I like this. I don't like the Justice League movie all that much. Batman vs Superman, I like it. I don't love it. I see the potential. It's got a lot of faults for me, but it does still have a quality to it that I like, which means I think this DCEU, especially with Aquaman, I thought that was really good. Wonder Woman was really good. I can't wait to see Wonder Woman 1984. I would really like to establish this timeline a little bit more personally. So that's my personal take on it. But I will tell you, even with Crisis on Infinite Earths, even with all of their missed opportunities, do you know how fun it was to see 1960s Robin saying "Holy Crimson Skies, Batman"? How cool it was to see Knox from the 1989 Batman when the skies turn red and the bat signals up. He's like, "Hope you're on this, buddy," or whatever he said. You know how cool it was to see all these, even Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern, even when Crisis on Infinite Earths threw Ryan Reynolds a bone and showed his Green Lantern, like I thought all of that was really cool. So I do think the DCEU multiverse can strengthen DC's continuity. It can have a lot of fun with it because I mean we have the 1989 Batman, we have Brandon Routh who is the continuation of the Christopher Reeve Superman, we have Henry Cavill's Superman. I guess if they wanted to, they could find a way to pull Dean Cain into that. Maybe if they gave Tom Welling money, they could pull him into that. I don't know, but he gave up his power, so that wouldn't be as fun. The point is I think they could have a lot of fun with the DC multiverse. And what do you think of that? A DCEU multiverse. Would that strengthen the continuity? What do we got?
James says multiverse may be the hook that helps the DCEU.
Yep. I think I can see that. Yeah, there's a lot of appeal and a lot of nostalgia with DC. You know, even though they might be hit and miss right now, they've had a lot of great home runs in the past. And to bring all of that in together rather than rebooting it and overwriting it and letting those continuities continue and all the continuities part of each other, that's kind of cool. What else we got?
Anakin says yes, as long as they don't rush it, like have Darkseid in the Shazam 2 end credits. Although that would be cool because Shazam is my favorite comic book movie.
Yeah, that is the key, right? Because we have seen DC rush, and it would be very cool if they take their time and really build these foundations. So, what else do we got, Laura? Anything else?
Nope.
Nothing else. Does anybody else, while we're still on this topic, here's the question. Is a multiverse a good way for the DCEU to have stronger continuity? Would it be a really good hook if the DCEU right now opened up to a multiverse? What are your thoughts on that? So if anybody else has any other thoughts, let's hear from it. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but I really do agree with the last comment that, yeah, don't rush it. You gotta build it. You gotta give it that solid foundation. Anything else yet? Nothing else yet. Okay, well, let's move on. Question number 4, and my final question for you all right now, and I think this one's going to be a lot of fun. What's your favorite DCEU movie? For sure, mine is Man of Steel. Wonder Woman is an extremely close second. I'd probably say almost tied for first, with Aquaman coming in third place. I mean, those three are very solid, very good movies for me. So Man of Steel is my absolute favorite DCEU film. Now, don't be afraid to give your honest opinion. Who cares if nobody else agrees? Let's have fun and let's talk about your favorite DCEU movie.
So Doug James, Wonder Woman, Anakin, Shazam,
Nice.
Jack Alexander, Birds of Prey.
Oh, Birds of Prey. I've only seen that one, I think, once. Yeah, I've only seen that once, but I'm excited because I'm doing the 31 on 31 with Cody Leach and all these awesome, great YouTubers. I'm so excited. So I get to watch Birds of Prey again. So I'm looking forward to, revisiting that one.
Doug James said second place is Shazam, and Anakin said second place is Birds of Prey.
Nice. Yeah, Birds of Prey was pretty good. They definitely mislabeled that movie. They should have just called it Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey instead of that super long title, because the Birds of Prey is such a small part in that movie, and Harley Quinn is such a big part of that movie. But she's really good at that role of Harley Quinn. Does like a fantastic job.
Anakin said CP is hilarious.
CP is pretty hilarious, and I'm looking forward to joining CP and Cody Leach and Sean Chandler and Brian and all these great people for this awesome 31 on 31. I'm so excited to be part of that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Damien Ision said, my favorite DCEU easily Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut next to Man of Steel and Shazam.
I definitely do like I don't even acknowledge the existence of the theatrical cut of Batman vs Superman. To me, that was a mistake. They didn't mean to release that in theaters. Somebody spilled coffee on the keyboard and it deleted a bunch of scenes and then rendered it. And that's why you have a weird movie that doesn't make sense. And then somebody caught that after it was on the big screen and released the right movie on Blu-ray, because it is insane. The characters and the plot lines that got cut from Batman vs Superman that smooth it out. I still think it's rushed. Like, Superman should not have died in movie number 2. Just should not have happened. And Wonder Woman was the best part. But you're laughing. What are you laughing at?
Oh, just Anakin Skywalker did a bunch of laughy faces and said just logic.
Yes.
And Doug James said classic coffee spill. So using that.
That's the only way to explain why Batman vs Superman had the scenes deleted from it. There's no way somebody went through and intentionally deleted an entire character, explaining that those were silver bullets, which is the same material the wheelchair that housed the bomb was made out of, which is why Superman couldn't see or hear the bomb. Or it's the only way to explain cutting the scenes where you see Superman pulling people out of the burning Capitol building and saving lives. Like, it's just ridiculous, the stuff that they cut. Whole character stuff. It's insane. Yes.
Damien Ision said, Birds of Prey is a lot of fun. Bought it on 4K.
Nice.
Chris Daughtry said, I once pitched to my cousin a DCEU in like 4 phases. I think part of my ideas I got from your video on how the DCEU could have been as epic as the MCU.
Yes.
And pitch wars between you and Cody Leach.
Cody Leach, he just needs to be hired on by Warner Brothers as a writer for DC. Seriously, check out Cody Leach's channel and his video Pitch Wars. And he's done 2 episodes. It was he and I that did the first episode, and it was before the Justice League came out. And so we were pitching a DCEU movie. His Batman movie is so good that I started to change my Justice League movie on the fly, because I had to figure out how to make it better so that mine would get votes, because his Batman script was so good. That dude needs to be a writer for DC. So since we're kind of just in this free mode here, what is your DCEU question? Like, what's something that you wish would happen in the DCEU? What's the next movie you wish they would make? Me, I just want Man of Steel 2. Henry Cavill has said he wants to be Superman until the end and do as many Superman movies as he can. And there's been a lot of stuff, a lot of articles released on that recently. And I'm with him, man. I think Henry Cavill is a fantastic Superman, and I need to see that dude's character arc continue. And so what's your DCEU thing that you want to see right now?
So Chris Daughtry also said in relation to his last post that he would also make Suicide Squad more relevant instead of being a standalone film that leads Justice League.
Well, did you see some of those articles about Suicide Squad that David Ayer, like in his original cut, it was more connected, and that so much so that there was even a mother box used in Suicide Squad. So they definitely changed a lot. And so with the Snyder Cut, it begs the question, what else has been meddled with that could be put back to normal? Was that stuff shot? Could we get an Ayer cut? Because I would be curious about that, because the extended cut I saw Suicide Squad actually made it worse. So, but if there was more of a tie-in and a mother box is actually used in the movie, that has me wanting to go back and see that particular cut. What else we got?
Doug James says it's time for a standalone Superman.
Oh my gosh.
Damien Ision said, in 2 parts, will Steppenwolf be the bad guy in the Snyder Cut, and how will Darkseid approach in the Snyder Cut?
Well, to sort of answer your question, yes, you still have Steppenwolf as the primary villain, but I think he's kind of the right hand of Darkseid, maybe rebelling against Darkseid a little bit. Again, I'm basing this off rumors. I'm saying I'm not basing off of fact. It's like as the years have gone and we've had the release the Snyder Cut movement and different things were released, this is my mind kind of putting together the different rumors that I've seen. But I think Darkseid is actually in the film, but he's more background. And it's still Steppenwolf who is the main bad guy, but like, when he's talking to the mother boxes and saying mother, apparently mother talks back and we hear mother's voice. So there's more to Steppenwolf than what we saw. And I think the more fleshes out his character, actually making him good. And maybe with the Snyder Cut, they'll finish the CG and he won't look like a unrendered character and he'll look more like he did in Batman versus Superman and that really crazy scene, the communion and the ooze. Like I would love to see a Steppenwolf that looked more like that. So we'll have to see. What else we got, Laura?
Anakin says we need a cyborg. Also, love Henry Cavill. Met him, love him in Mission Impossible and as Superman.
Yeah, Henry Cavill is great, and I really want Man of Steel too. And you know what makes me like Henry Cavill even more is the fact that I keep seeing articles and things released about how he loves Superman. And so when you have somebody who loves the character, who understands the character, playing the character, you're going to get something good. That's why I really loved him in Man of Steel. And even though he's still a little dark and broody and Batman vs. Superman, no, he was the lead of Justice League. He was supposed to be the heart of Justice League. I want to see his role in that. And yeah, I'd love a solo cyborg movie. That'd be cool. What else we got, Laura?
Doug said we need to see Superman comfortable in his life as Superman.
Yes. And the rumors that I hear about the Snyder Vision, which encompasses more than the Snyder Cut. Like when you go back to what I guess was the original 2-part Justice League movie, I think this was supposed to be part of a 5-movie Man of Steel journey where he becomes Superman, part of the Justice League, and all of his character like arcs and fleshes out to him becoming the Superman that we know and love. And so it might be slower than maybe what most of us are used to, but I would like to see that journey. And I think Henry Cavill is the dude to take this Superman on that journey.
Jack says, I'm guessing this is to an earlier question of movies that you want to see, Birds of Prey 2 and a Hal Jordan movie.
Yes, I would love a Hal Jordan movie. In fact, the Hal Jordan movie that I want is Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1. If you've never read any of the Earth 1 graphic novels, they're fantastic. They are incredibly unique takes on these heroes and their villains and their origin stories. I mean, it's still like underlining the same, but if you look at Earth 1 Volume 1 of Green Lantern, and I won't get too much into it, but it's a post Green Lantern Corps universe. And Hal Jordan becomes the Green Lantern for the first time in a universe where there is no Corps. And in fact, because of a threat that awakens, because he finds the ring, he's got to figure out how to put a Green Lantern Corps back together. And I think that story, if you just look it up and check it out, Green Lantern, Earth 1, Volume 1, I think that is a perfect story that fits the tone of the DCEU. And Green Lantern is one of my favorite heroes. Like, I think Ryan Reynolds did a good job in the role. It's just too bad his movie wasn't good. And I don't think that's Ryan Reynolds' fault. The movie wasn't good. But Green Lantern is such a great character, and he deserves his due in a film.
Would you want to see the original cut of Suicide Squad because there's still cut scenes of the Joker that's not in the movie?
I've said this a lot. I've been back and forth on the Leto Joker because I didn't get enough of him. So yeah, I would be curious to see more of his Joker. I'm still not a fan. Like the more I've watched Suicide Squad, the less I've liked that Joker. And I don't want to talk bad about Leto because he's actually a really good actor. And I don't think like in terms of acting, he did a bad job. It's kind of like when I look at Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, I just go, that's not Lex Luthor. Michael Rosenbaum, that is the live action Lex Luthor. And so when I look at Joker, like that's kind of my problem when I look at Leto's Joker. Not that Leto's performance is bad, but it's just I look at that Joker and I go, that's not really what I see as Joker. But I would be curious if he had more scenes and if those were more character developing scenes. Yeah, I'd be curious enough to see it because I love DC, so I'd give it a shot.
Doug says would love to see Flash, Green Arrow get on each other's nerves.
Flash and Green Arrow yes, that would be a lot of fun. Because honestly, and I think you could back me up on this, Laura, it was a lot of fun in the CW when Flash and Green Arrow were together.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of fun. Like, they were always hilarious together.
Jack said he actually likes Leto's Joker and Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Well, that's awesome. And you're not alone in that. One of my good friends over at Film Trigger, Stevie, who runs Film Trigger over there, loves Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. I don't see it, but it could be just because I'm spoiled. Because look at this. I'm wearing a Smallville shirt. The Michael Rosenbaum Lex Luthor to me is the quintessential Lex Luthor. It's so hard to beat that. So, like, I think that's where I struggle. And, it's not that Jesse Eisenberg did a bad job. It's just when I look at the characterization of Lex Luthor, I'm all for exploring the character and finding new depths with that character. There's just something about that Luthor that feels out of character for me. But if you love that Luthor, dude, all the power to you. I have no argument there. It's just that's a personal thing with me.
Craig says it's funny how Keaton was thought by some to not be tough enough to play Batman, but a much older Keaton playing the Vulture seemed much more bad A than younger Keaton. LOL. Bring an old Keaton Batman.
Yes. It is funny because you can see, like, DC always has crazy controversy around it all the time. And I'm glad I was a kid in 1989 because apparently there was just a lot of that where Keaton, being a comedic actor and all that, would not have been good at all in that role. And now people just love him as that role. In hindsight, we just look back and go, he was a fantastic Batman. So yeah, and he's great as the Vulture. And it's funny to hear stories of Tom Holland on set talking about Michael Keaton every once in a while, turning around and looking at him and saying, I'm Batman. Like, just reminding him of who he really is. Like, I love hearing stories like that.
Chris said, well, the fact that you see Robin's suit after he'd been killed in BVS, then in Suicide Squad, it says Harley Quinn was evolved in his murder, shows how much interfering WB did with the movie.
Because, yeah, and I agree with that because what you can see there is it is more connected. And the Death in the Family storyline is an incredibly tragic Batman storyline where Robin gets beaten to death slowly by the Joker. That's like a powerful story. And if you go to Pitch Wars and watch that, not to spoil what Cody Leach wrote in his Batman story, but his pitch was before Batman vs. Superman, was to do a solo Batman movie, which pretty much was Death in the Family. And the way he told that story was brilliant. And so please check out that Pitch Wars because Cody Leach needs to do more. And I want to do another Pitch War with Cody Leach. So definitely show that first video support. What do you got, Laura?
Anakin asked if you could pick an actor as Green Lantern, who would it be? For me, I would pick Tom Cruise.
I hate
Tom Cruise is too old for me now.
Well, Tom Cruise,
I mean,
he's older, but my pick is going to be old too. Nathan Fillion.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
I think, and a lot of people might be like, well, he doesn't have the physique to be a superhero. Green Lantern's not about muscle or physique. It's about willpower. It's about his power when he wears the ring with his mind to control and bend that light and all that. It's about the power of his will. So you could have an older Green Lantern who doesn't have muscles coming out his ears. So I think Nathan Fillion, like his personality to me, fits Hal Jordan.
And he's the voice of the animated ones.
And he's the voice of the animated ones. And he's fantastic. So I would love, for me, that's what I want. I would love to see Earth 1, Volume 1, Green Lantern made into a movie with Nathan Fillion as Hal Jordan.
Jack Alexander says Matt Damon for Hal Jordan.
I'm trying to think if I could see that. Yeah, I could probably see that. Wouldn't be my first choice, but yeah, I could, especially the way he did his character in The Martian. Yeah, I could sort of see that. Yeah.
And Doug said he did a great job in the animated.
Yes, he did.
Damien Ision said if we see Lois Lane in the Snyder Cut, she will die. Will she die? Will she die? Not she will.
It depends on what version the cameras were rolling on. If it's the two-parter, then yeah, we'll probably see her die. If it's not the two-parter, I think even Snyder had to rewrite even his cut to accommodate what the WB was saying. So if cameras never ever rolled on that two-parter, then I think chances are we won't see Lois die. Maybe we'll see her almost die, but I could be wrong. I mean, I don't know. I'm answering these questions solely based off of rumors that I've heard following, Snyder stuff. So I don't know. I would I think it'd be cool because it would totally round out the nightmare vision and all of that stuff. So I would definitely like to see that. And you know, the idea also is that the Flash does more time traveling in the Justice League, that we see him experiment with that more. And one of the rumors I heard is they actually lose against Steppenwolf, so the Flash time travels back a little bit to warn them how they lost, and so they get a second chance. So it could happen. I don't know.
So Doug and Jack, or no, I'm sorry, Doug and Sean both say Nathan Fillion for Green Lantern.
Awesome. Hashtag Nathan Fillion for Green Lantern. Let's start the movement.
Doug says, if the multiverse will show all the heroes, it would be great to see all the Lex Luthors or Jokers.
That would be really great. Yeah, Jack Nicholson is still alive, though his Joker fell off a building. So they would have to get creative on how to bring in that Joker. They would have to figure that out. But it would be very, very cool to bring in all the different Lex Luthors and stuff.
Sean says, I feel like the multiverse works well, but I'm not sure how I feel about this Flash visiting Keaton's Batman. Is a little soon.
Yeah. Again, you're hitting a place where I have mixed feelings, because I want it to happen because I want Keaton to be in the DCEU and his Batman continuity continuing in another universe. That'd just be cool to see that and have that in there. But you're hitting on a tension that I'm experiencing inside myself right now, because I'm thinking, is it too soon to have the Flash do this? Do we need more time with him, just like at least one more movie to get to know his Iris, to get to know his Central City, to build his world just a little bit more before we dive into that? Or are we just ready to dive into this? I'm inclined to think, give it another movie or two. But at the same time, I want to see Keaton. So, yeah.
Damien Ision said, if Michael Keaton appears in The Flash, maybe we'll get an explanation what happened since Batman Returns, not including Batman Forever.
Yes. And it sounds like they would not be including Batman Forever or Batman and Robin. So it would be a true Tim Burton versus Batman. Like, these are the rumors. Like, even today, I was just kind of fact checking and reading. Again, it's all rumors. It's like nothing is in stone, and I doubt it'll ever be in stone until the movies come out. But the point is yeah, it would be cool to see this Batman's history and learn what this Batman has been through in his life. Like, was there a Justice League? And if there was a Justice League for this Batman, is his Justice League the one that had the Christopher Reeve Superman as the Superman? Like, things like that I am very, very curious about.
Dorito Chip Gamer says, seems like the DCEU is pulling stuff out of their butt at this point.
You know, let's just address it as it is. Yeah, they probably are. They really probably are. They realize they got themselves in a hole, especially with this whole Justice League debacle, especially with HBOMax. Now they're probably going to eat a little bit of crow when the Snyder Cut comes out and we see like the vision of where that's going to go. And if we're doing a multiverse, what does the HBOMax Justice League do? Does that Snyder Cut create a Snyderverse? And then we go up and we have the Lighterverse. So we have the Lighterverse with Shazam and all of that. But how does Shazam exist in a Snyder Cut verse? So it's going to be very interesting to see if this Justice League from Snyder actually makes a huge impact. So we'll just have to see what happens here.
Chris said the way I made Suicide Squad more relevant was when they find the binder that has what their mission really is. They also see in there how to disarm their explosive devices and disarm them.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Sean says, I think we definitely need to focus on Flash films and get to know him before he screws up the multiverse.
I agree. And let me also throw this out there. I've already thrown it out there, but I'll say it again. Arthur Curry just became king. We only got one movie where Arthur Curry took up the throne of Atlantis. I'd like to see another Aquaman. I want Man of Steel 2. Like, there's certain things that I want to see in this present timeline before Flashpoint changes things. I'm not against Flashpoint changing things, and that could be really interesting. But for that to happen and for me to care deeper about the Flashpoint impact, I need this universe and this timeline to impact me a little bit more.
Dorito Chip Gamer says, I hope they don't fail.
Yeah, same here.
Jack says, do you think a Supergirl movie will ever happen?
I'm sure it will. When, I don't know, because the latest rumors is that they forsook that for Man of Steel 2. Then they forsook Man of Steel 2 to make Superman more like the Hulk, just appearing in other DC movies. Then they seem to have forsaken that, and now it's going to be Man of Steel 2 again. So I don't know. It's hard to say with any certainty what they're doing, but we'll see.
Part 2 of Chris Daughtry's fix of the suicide after they disarm their arms from the.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Burns the binder and gets loose and goes on a killing spree. Amanda Waller then contacts Bruce Wayne and tells him to track down the other metahumans, leading to Justice League, making the first Justice League an actual Justice League.
That'd be kind of interesting. I'd be curious. They still have to deal with the Skybeam and crazy dancing lady who dances like this.
Craig says, any truth to the rumor of Affleck playing Batman in the HBOMax series?
I mean, he's already Batman, and they already filmed a lot of it, to my understanding. I know they have to do reshoots, though. I don't know. I'm hoping he does come back. And does the reshoots. I'm sure they could find a way to do it one way or the other, but I like Ben Affleck's Batman. I have nothing against it, and I get why he was a bit disillusioned and done with it. I really do. So I hope the idea that this is an HBO Max version and bringing back the Snyder version, I hope that's attractive to him, and I hope he comes back. So Ben Affleck, if you're a fan of Derbania and you're watching, I'm a fan of your Batman, and I would like you to come back for Snyder Cut.
Dorito Chip said they should tie it in with the Arrowverse.
You know, I don't agree with that now. But years ago, before Arrow got bad, so before season 4 of Arrow, and still during the good seasons of Flash, I agreed with that. In fact, I would have loved Arrow season 1, and I think Man of Steel came out the summer after Arrow season 1. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I can't remember. But when Arrow season 2 came, it would have been cool if news of the Superman was playing in the background and stuff, connecting the universes. Because then you didn't have to worry about a Flash reboot or, an origin story, because you got the show. And it could have kept Arrow darker instead of Arrow trying to go the lighter route with its season 4. And it could have kept the Flash, I guess a bit more, maybe less cartoony, but still light and bright, And so I think it could have helped those shows strive in a different direction. And it would have been really cool to see a cinematic universe and a television universe together like that.
Dorito Chip Gamer says, Birds of Prey was good. The thing that almost killed the DCEU was rushing. They got to Justice League too fast.
Yep.
Oh,
did you lose it?
Yeah, it jumped up on me. Sorry. Looks like they're making the same mistakes again. They're doing so good. Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 84 on the way. Don't mess up.
Yeah, I hope they're not repeating the same mistakes. But going straight to Flashpoint again as your first solo Flash film, it does feel like it's rushing. And I agree that has been the DC's biggest problem is the rushing, because I don't feel like they had a strong plan and they rushed what they did have. And I get it. They want to approach DC from a different angle than Marvel did, because you don't want to do it exactly the same. I totally get that. But I can't shake the feeling that really they just rushed to get where they were, which was not the right approach.
Anakin said, I would love to see beautiful Margot Robbie in the Snyder Cut or the Snyder's Justice League.
That would be cool. I haven't heard any rumors that she's in it, but you never know. Maybe there's things they really kept under wraps. It'd be cool.
Oh, Chris said, sorry for having some comments split up. YouTube only allows a certain amount of letters.
That's okay, man.
Came in a couple parts.
I'll keep do your thing. It's awesome.
Jack says, how about this? They bring Batfleck back for 10 minutes in Justice League 2, but they kill him off and travel to another Earth and get Robert Pattinson's Batman.
That would be interesting. I need to see the Robert Pattinson Batman movie, though, before I 100% agree with that. I have faith in it because I like Matt Reeves. So I'm looking forward to what Matt Reeves is going to do with that movie.
Craig says, best Superman, Reeve or Cavill. Cavill's great, but Reeves the best for me.
Yeah, Christopher Reeve embodied Superman in a way that nobody else has. Henry Cavill, though, is my second place for sure. I think for a modern day 21st century Superman trying to find his place in this world, I feel like Henry Cavill does an amazing job. I love his take on Superman. But yes, I think Christopher Reeve hit the true heart of Clark Kent and hit the true heart of Superman and did it in a way that just, you can't replicate it. He nailed it. He is Superman.
Dorito Chip Gamer said the Suicide Squad looks good. The James Gunn one.
Yeah, the few pictures that I've seen, it definitely sounds like it's going to be interesting. And I like James Gunn, so I'd be curious. I love what he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'll be very curious to see what he does with this bunch of misfits. So yeah.
Anakin saying goodbye.
Goodbye, Anakin. And why don't we do? How about?
I don't have any more.
You don't have any more?
Yeah.
All right. Let me throw and say 3 more questions because we're coming up on about an hour. 3 more DCEU questions. And you could go through any of my main 4 questions and tell me what you think of those. Are you excited for Snyder Cut? What do you think of Michael Keaton possibly returning? Is a multiverse a good way to strengthen the continuity of the DCEU? Or you can answer the question, what is your favorite DCEU? Or you can ask me any DC question that you want. So let's just do 3 more, and then we'll go ahead and sign off. And we have none. I look over at Laura, and she does this. So let's have her do this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go.
It would be weird to tie in Joaquin Phoenix's Joker with DCEU. Doesn't fit in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think the reason it doesn't fit is because it's a powerful one-off story. It's a very interesting character look at the Joker, and even trying to ground it, I think, even more so than Nolan's Batman. And so I could agree with you on that. It would take that Joker and make it more cartoony, I think. So I think I can follow you on that one.
John says, I feel like HBOMax Justice League Snyder Cut is a separate thing. I think they're continuing the current plan, and hopefully they create another Justice League film that will be better.
I think you're right. I think that's definitely the thing. I think the Snyder Cut is going to be kind of its own thing on HBO Max. For a lot of us have been wanting to see it and see where things were going. But it would be cool if it maybe spawned some HBO Max original series of DC stuff.
And he says, do you think Robert Pattinson's Batman is a separate universe from the DC?
It sounds like it's a definitely separate universe. I mean, when you look at the castings for like Commissioner Gordon and Alfred, like it doesn't match the castings of them for the present Batman. So it definitely are the present DCEU Ben Affleck Batman. So I would say it doesn't quite fit in the Snyder continuity for sure. The present continuity that's coming out on the big screen. So I think it's its own thing. They may tie in through a multiverse.
Jack wants to know, what's your favorite DC graphic novel?
My favorite DC graphic novel is probably Green Lantern Earth 1 Volume 1. And it kind of breaks my heart to say that because I love Superman. And the Earth 1, the 3 volumes of Superman Earth 1 are fantastic. But that Green Lantern story was something special, man. It was so incredibly good. Did we do 3 questions?
Yes, we have.
Let's do one last mercy question. One more question. What?
Okay. I'll just read a couple real fast.
Okay.
One idea I got from you, plus watching Superman Doomsday, was have the Suicide Squad, once they get free, break Lex Luthor out of prison, then take up Superman and Lex, make the cyborg Superman.
That would be interesting. Yeah, I'd see that movie.
And then Dorito Chip Gamer wants them to tie the DC shows in. Damian Ision says, would you like if Michael Keaton Batman had a Robin? Marvel Fan 45 says, this is off topic, but thanks, Durbin. My channel's up and running, and now I actually have a community that likes my content. Thanks, dude. You were the final push for me to start a channel.
Well, I'm glad you got a community going, man. So everybody check out his channel. Be part of that community.
Craig says, what you think of 60s Batman with Adam West? I loved it. Dumb but fun.
It is dumb but fun, and I do love it. I love it for what it is.
And the last question, Jack says, Injustice movie?
You know, I haven't played the Injustice game, so I'm not super strongly familiar with that story, but I am led to believe that those were some of the cues Snyder was taking with his Superman all hopped up on the anti-life equation. So I'd be curious. I'd be very curious for an Injustice movie. And if they have Injustice on the Switch, let me know because I will check it out. So I think we've done it, right? We've hit.
There's 2 more comments, real quick.
Okay, two more.
Doug says, DCEU, I believe, but help my unbelief. Great chat, enough said.
Yes.
And then
Love it.
Dorito Chip Gamer said, I'm excited for Joss Whedon's Batgirl.
I didn't know they were still doing it. Like the last thing I heard is that was canceled. But if they're going to do it, that'd be fantastic. If it's canceled, I am a little sad because, like I said, Joss Whedon, if you let him have the vision from the beginning and he's writing the script, yeah, it's going to be good. He's a good writer and he's a good director. So, yeah, if he does his Batgirl, I'd like to see it. If Michael Keaton becomes a mentor to that Batgirl, 10 times better. All right.
Done.
Yes, done. I want to thank all of you for joining me in this live stream. It has been awesome. Thank you. I love hearing from you live. I love your comments. Thank you for joining me on this DCEU chat. So I'm going to sign off for right now. But if you like this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button here at Derbania. If you haven't already, hit that like button, share this video if you liked it, and hit that bell so you're notified the next time I go live, or for my next movie review, ranking video, theological analysis, or 31 on 31 on July 31st. I'm excited to be a part of the 31 on 31, going over the 31 superhero movies, all the MCU movies, and all of the DCEU movies, doing an ultimate ranking. I have one ultimate ranking already up that I did a while back, but this ranking is going to add in Spider-Man Far From Home and Birds of Prey, which were not part of my original ranking because they weren't out yet. So I'm excited to throw those movies in and go through and rank all 31 of these superhero movies with some fantastic YouTubers. So hit that bell. I'm Durbin. Thanks for checking out Derbania.